Caution, spinning the camera. Slowly. I just shot 5 minutes of video without the microphone on. That's awesome. It's okay. No worries. Let's recap what you guys were not privy to hearing. Okay, we are in the process right now of dropping the lower unit. We've got 4 14mm bolts to come out. This bolt down here is already MIA. That's the one that holds the zinc anode on up underneath there, so we don't have to worry about that one. And I'm just going to loosen them enough to where I can start beating on it and drop it down. And I'm going to give you guys the time when I end this portion of the video, so that when we come back we can see how long it has taken to drop that lower unit. People have been borrowing it that had no business borrowing the pontoon, and as such it's got issues. The water pump's not one of them, but you can see the definite water line here and all the buildup of smudge that's on that lower unit. They never raised the motor out of the water when they were finished using it. They just shut the key off and away they went. That's not how you do it. You have to lift the motor up out of the water, you put the lock on, and you disconnect the battery. So I am going to make it easier on them to disconnect the battery. There's a screwdriver in there that they've been using, or pliers, or there's an adjustable wrench in there they've been using. I'm going to make it easier. I'm just going to put a disconnect on there, and that disconnect will take care of, there it is. All I have to do is just reach over there and loosen that. How hard is that going to be? Shouldn't be hard at all. This is until I can find the parasitic draw. I'm just spread so thin with so many responsibilities to help so many people. It's anyway, enough of that. And then something else that sort of occurred while the boat was sitting under a tree is it needs cleaned. And this whole time I've been talking with the microphone facing the wrong way, so I hope you heard me. We've only got one part to put in. I'll show you that part here in just a second. This is something else that got broken. That's the part. That's it. That's all that has to go in there. It's the water pump impeller. So I'm going to get a hold of Jason, see if he can't get his boys out here and have them spend their Friday afternoon cleaning the inside of the boat for Mama Sue, doing a little bit of contributing to keeping this thing alive. It is possibly going to end up being sold. There are a couple people interested in it, one being Trudy's son-in-law and another being someone else out at the campground, and it's being sold with the dock slip, which is like $500 a year to rent that dock slip. They are very, very, very hard to get, just letting you know. They're difficult to get out there at Prairie Creek Reservoir here in Muncie, so that's a big bonus and a big perk and a big plus and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to quit yammering, finish getting those 4 14mm bolts out. As I said in the no volume video, or no audio video, the anode bolt is already out of there because the anode is missing in action, zinc anode. But we're going to get into it. So as soon as I get those bolts loosened up and get the lower unit to drop, we'll kick the camera back on, and I'm going to start doing that right now. And the time is 2:15. Let's see how long it takes to get that lower unit to move. Don't forget the 12mm bolt that's up inside where the anode goes. It won't come apart. Did I forget about it? You betcha. The case is separating, so something's going my way. Let's see if it's going to do a little bit more separating here. Let me get you guys set up somewhere where you're kind of out of the way and I'm not in the way. Yeah, you can see. Just making sure you can see. Okay, are you ready? Let's do some tappity tap tapping. Well, it dropped right down. Dropped right down. That's awesome. Alright. Have a dowel pin here for locating. There's probably another dowel pin somewhere. Yep. In the back on the other side, plus the 4 bolts. So I'm going to remove 3 of the 4 bolts. Raise the lower unit up. Sweat bees are driving me bonkers. Raise the lower unit up so I can slide everything out, and I'll kick the camera on when we're ready to do that. Now, for your benefit, I disconnected that for just a minute so the cooling fan wasn't doing all that blowing. Somebody had the forethought to just put a line here to disconnect that water line. This water line here is what goes up to that jet right there. And then right here is my shift linkage. Then I have another hose in here that is the main water pump hose that we also have to disconnect. So that's where we're at as far as that goes. And I'm gonna clamp you guys on. I'm gonna raise the lower unit first. Let me clamp you guys in a place where you can watch me fumble and fight this. Alright, we should be, yeah, we're up quite a ways. Let me make sure you guys get the view here. Hopefully that's good enough. And we will pause the charging while I'm doing this. Got one last bolt. I'm going to hold the unit in place as I remove that last bolt. Get stuff out of the way. It's not super heavy, but I do have to work with one hand. If I was smart, I'd have done this and left that screw in the other side, being left-handed, and also so that I wasn't directly in the sunlight. Let's see if we can get it in the magnetic tray. Close enough. Alright. Now we're going to get the lower unit down just a little more. Hang on, guys. We got to hold it up. There we go. Okay. Woo! Alright. Okay, we came disconnected with our shift lever right here. Okay, so just don't alter anything. Don't move the shift lever. Don't do anything. And when you put that back in, it should be just the way that it's supposed to be. Our water pump, if you can see it, is right here. That's what we're going after. There we go. Let's get her on out of there. Alright, I'll see you guys in the shop. Well, come on. Why didn't you follow me? Alright. There's the lower unit. Got the water pump. I'm going to make some room here, clear things out so I can work on it and also get the camera situated. So, hang on. Alright gang, we are to the point where we're ready to move this off. I cleaned the shaft, got the hole covered up. Just going to zip off these bolts. They're 12 millimeter. And of course everything is going to be getting a coat of anti-seize on them afterward. Everything's loose. I think we have two different length bolts, and we've also got some metal keepers right here. So we're going to keep these bolts. Those are the same length. We'll check these two. They are probably longer. Yep, they are longer. Keepers as well. And that should free up the water pump. So I've got to be careful not to damage the gasket like I said, because I do not have a replacement on hand. So let's see what we can do about coaxing this little guy up and off. See if we can get it to crack loose here. We've got just a little bit of a lip it looks like I can get a hold of. There we go. Beauty. And a little bit of a lip here too. Alright, looks like we're going to be in good shape. And the gasket's wanting to stick on one side a little bit. There we go. That's the way. I like it. Okay. Now, there we go. See this little guy right here? Plumb wore out. We take this up off top out of camera view, and we have a little cup down here. Cup looks like it's in good shape. Looks like we're just fine there. The gasket looks like it's in good shape. Let's get that little sucker right there pried up. And as you can see, and we've got broken, let me turn it. Got a broken fin, and they're just way wore out. So see if we can't get that sucker to just slide up. And there is a little keyway, tiny little keyway. You got to be sure you don't drop that woodruff key down into the great abyss. And I see a piece. I'll show you as soon as I get this off and get it out. I think I'm going to clean this off first though. So let me push this back down. I'm going to clean this area off before I remove that. So you guys give me just a minute, I'll be right back. Alright, we got that cleaned off well enough so that we can go ahead and slide her on up out of there. Pop her up and out. And again, you need to watch for your drift key here, okay? You also need to note that as you're looking down on the unit, it turns clockwise, okay? So I'm not going to disturb the woodruff key. Get the old one off. When you put the new one on, the only thing that you have to be mindful of is you have a top and a bottom. If you look here, you do not see a place for the keyway. Turn it over, you have a place for the keyway, okay? Drift key, so you put that side down, you line it up with the drift key, and you're off and running to the races. So I'm going to dab just a couple little drops of oil just to help it slide down over everything. and then I have to take the unit off the vise, turn it upside down to dump out one of the fins that broke off and fell down in there. I saw it in there a second ago, and when I went to look again, it was gone. So I've got to get it out of there before I start this pump up, because I don't want to send that thing up into the engine. So, and we've got actually two that are broken off. So I'm hopefully going to find two, or I'll just find one, and the other one has hopefully exited the engine in some form or fashion. But we've got this oiled up, we've got our keyway, and here's our drift key. Just reverse slide her down on there. Let's make sure we're lined up. Push her down. I think I'm off just a little bit. Let me see which direction I need to go. Okay. Need to go this way just a hair. Just a little more. I go the right way. I went too far. There we go. Alright, there you go. And then when you reassemble, which we're ready to do right now, when we put the cap on, we want to rotate the shaft this way until this drops down into place. So start rotating, rotate, 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 rotate. And there we go. It is in like flint. Now we can put our bolts back in. Remember, 2 long bolts in the back, 2 short bolts in the front. And I'll see you guys when I'm ready to put the lower unit back in. I'm gonna take this back off because I have to dump that piece of impeller out beforehand. But we'll see you guys when we're buttoning everything back up into the boat motor. Switch the battery out. You see it right down in there. So all I have to do is just pluck it out. There we go. See it on the engine. Alright, it's time to put that lower unit on. And right down here out of sight are my bolts, and they all already have anti-seize on them, so I can just grab them and go. So we have to make sure that when we do this that we line up the weep line so that we can see it. That will connect, I don't know if this is in view, to connect to this hose. I'll have to come up through this hole right here, then our transmission lever engagement and our drive shaft engagement. So let's slide that sucker on up in there. What do you say? Everything's greased up, everything's ready to go, and I believe I am ready to just start one bolt in. Am I? Am I? Where's my wrench? See? Just when you think you're prepared, you're not. I had them. I had both of them. I got him. Sorry. So we've got this one for our 12 millimeter, which is the one that goes up here, and then our 14 millimeters that can only be put on with a 6-point box end due to clearance. So let's get a hold of the unit. Let's get our knee pad first. And take care when putting it up in there. You're not just wanting to shove everything in. You want to make sure that everything lines up nice. We get that lined up to go through the hole. Yep, that's lined up to go through the hole. There it is, coming out. Good. Oh, I see one bolt right here that's not tight. I need to make sure it's tight. I gotta drop this down some more. Right there, you guys see that? Uh-oh. Zippo's slacking. Okay, gang. This is take 2 because I lost the footage. Oh, this Hero 7 is just not working out. I may go back to the Hero 5 and send this thing back for some serious service. It keeps screwing up. You have 3 things that you have to line up. You've got this first hole down here. I don't know how well that's showing up. That first hole down there, that is what this line goes through. And then the rod that's coming down goes onto this. And then you've got to run that up in through that big abyss up there and get the splines lined up. You also have to get the splines lined up on this, which is what fought me for a little bit, because I thought as soon as I got it engaged in here I was home free. That is not the case. If you look, there's a little bit of a shoulder and then it goes into the splines. So you've got to do some finagling with that to get that to engage into the splines. And I believe I see an O-ring up there that should be right down here on the bottom of this. So I'm going to fish that O-ring out because that's part of what I've been fighting. I'm going to attempt to fish that O-ring out. See if we can't get it out of there and put it where it belongs. That O-ring was not allowing, yeah, there's the O-ring, sorry. There's the O-ring. The O-ring was not allowing those splines to engage because it should be down there. So I'm going to put this O-ring down there, and then we're going to assemble the lower unit onto the rest of the engine. So stay tuned for that. Alright gang, I'm ready if you are. Let's get this thing put together. What do you say? Let me make sure I've got everything close at hand. I need these two. I might need the flashlight. And I might need the knee pad. We shall see. Alright, I'll set, where can I set these? I'll set these right here so they are readily available. Got my bolts right there. Flashlight. Flashlight I'm going to hook to my pocket. Are you ready? Let's put this lower unit in. Okay, first things first. Big end in the big hole. Run it up. As you run it up, you have to fish the water line, your weep line. Make sure it comes through up here. Then the next thing that will engage will be your drive shaft, which it just did. You slowly bring it up. Here we go. Went up just a little too far. I'm gonna bring it back down. Come on. Oh, too much. I need a happy medium. There we go. And then the shift rod. Then up and in. Just like that. And bolts close at hand. Get at least one started in there. Helps when you've got that O-ring in the right place, I'm here to tell you, because I fought that and fought that and fought that just because that silly O-ring was not where it was supposed to be. But we're golden now. Everything is where it should be. And it's going in up against the dowel pins. Let's go ahead and throw this bolt in. I'm glad it finally decided to cooperate with me. That silly O-ring held up the entire works. Pardon me. You didn't hear it, but I felt it. I belched. So, go through and just going to cinch everything up, bring everything up together at the same time. I'm going to bring this up until it starts pulling, and I'll get the other two bolts on. There, it's starting to pull. I'll throw these other two bolts in, and I don't know if I lost the footage on it, but there is anti-seize on all of these bolts. Here, the last one. And then the test will be, we're going to drag the garden hose out here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm going to drag the garden hose out and put the earmuffs on, turn the water on, and start the motor, and make sure that we have good water flow. Of course, I guess I should mention that you do need to reconnect this line right here, which fortunately on this particular boat engine has a union right there. Makes it nice and easy. Alright, all four of those are in. Run them in as far as I can by hand. So I'll see you guys as soon as you see water pouring out of this thing. So don't go away.
Let's see if Zippo fixed it.
Okay.